right, guys. Hey, thank you for joining. And I've got a very special guest today, and I'm excited that she's going to be on. You're going to be able to lean in and listen. In fact, I just said this right before we hopped on. I said, there's certain people where I just catch myself telling their story to other people. And I sat back and said, why? And I realized it's because their story inspires me. And Jen, your story has always inspired me. And so I'm excited to have you on so you can inspire others by your story as we get into it. So thank you for joining, Jen. So that was an extra loud applause because I'm just telling you, the story is going to be that good. But Jen, I want to kind of get into a little bit about yourself. Like, talk about how you found Family First Life and, what your situation was financially and why you were looking and what landed you at Family First Life.
So my background is actually figure skating. So I was a figure skating coach. I competed nationally across the country, and that was fantastic. I turned pro at 16, and then I started coaching. Traveled all over the US and Canada doing that. So that was a lot of fun, but I worked for myself and I sort of set my own hours. So when I worked, it depended on when ice time was available though. So yes, I had freedom and I had my own business and I was coaching, but I was still really strapped down. And that just led me to think, what else is out there where I can actually have total freedom and still make money. So I actually got into the insurance industry, but with a different company, which was fantastic because I learned a lot of good stuff, a lot of, about products and things like that and how to connect with people. And I ended up getting married. I kind of took some time off from that. But they were holding me down. The comp was low. It was like every time I promoted, I was making less money. The leads were just very hard. And I started questioning things a lot. And then I found Family First Life. So Sean Mike, I knew him from the prior company and I saw what he was doing at Family First Life and I was kind of watching from the sidelines. And then I got pregnant with triplets. So I already had 3 and then I got pregnant with triplets.
Hey, Jen, you know what I really want to have happen right now? And I don't know why I just thought about this. What I would love is like if all 6 kids could just jump on you while this podcast is taking place. Just so people yeah, I did. And I hope that they run out because that's what you deal with. That's the reality. And yet you've still built your business where in the last month, I mean, you grew by like 300%. Your team issue paid, what was it? 127?
Yeah.
127,000 and paid business. And you really just started to turn this thing on the last 90 days because of a lot of things that you had taken place and things you had to deal with. But think about that. Like I hear them.
Yeah, that was only 3 of the 6.
And I know you look like you're in a bunker, like as if you're in a war zone and you're bunkered down in a trench. Is that fair to say? Is that why you're?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm just glad we got signal down in that bunker. And the good news is if all of a sudden a nuke happens, like I'll die, but they can still continue to listen to you.
Yeah. So today the babysitter canceled on me today because I was going to go into the office for this. And I was like, you know what? I put the triplets down for a nap. I gave my older 3 some snacks and I was like, whatever you do not come downstairs. The only time you come downstairs is if somebody's head pops off or if there's bleeding that you can't stop.
I love it. Well, then again, I don't want to see him because I don't want one of those 2 things to take place for the kids.
Yeah.
But this is how you built your business. And I think that a lot of times people, they say, well, I can't do this because, and they have these different conditions. And I'm always inspired by somebody that says, oh, I can, and I will, and I must. And it's because of this. And so when you found Family First Life, your financial situation was probably like most, was it not looking good?
Not looking good. So it was actually going backwards because of the company that I was with prior. So at that time I was married and my ex-husband, he was in the Navy and Navy pay. I mean, they don't get raises every month. They work 1 million hours. So it was like whatever money I was bringing in, we needed. And then all of a sudden it was going backwards because of all the extra fees and you got to pay for training and pay for this. And all of a sudden you promote and you're like, yes, I promoted. And then whack, here's a fee. So it's like my comp actually went down 20% and I'm pregnant. I can't really go anywhere. And I was like, I was like waving a freaking white flag at Sean Mike from the middle of the ocean. I was like, help, did. And the platform here is just so amazing. So actually my first month with Family First Life was 2 months before I got put on hospital bed rest with them. So right before I did, I went out and I issued 18,000 real quick. I was like, I need to pad the bank a little bit before I can't do anything for a while. And that's what was fantastic about here. I mean, it was like, what are you trying to do? What do you need help with? How can we help you? But I was pregnant and I had the other three. So I would dial from home and I didn't care that my kids were running around, and people actually enjoyed that on the phone because it's not a robot calling. It's not someone from a call center. It's a real person. And I'm like, yeah, I'm working from home today. I'm sorry, the kids are loud. And they're like, oh yeah,
Right.
my grand or my son, and I get it. And it actually helped make things more personable. And even when I'm recruiting now, I mean, I think 4 weeks ago, I only issued 7,000 for the month. And I was thinking, what was the difference? I'm just picking up the phone all the time. I mean, I was getting calls at 2:30 in the morning last night from agents who are now doing Zoom. We're on the East Coast, they're doing Zoom on the West Coast. Well, they're helping a family out there. I'm going to pick up the phone. First of all, because I've been in situations where I felt like no one was there to help me when I was in a bad spot. That's the worst. And I don't want to do that to anyone. So I will pick up the phone when someone calls. And if I can't right away, I'll text them, hey, I'll get right back to you. And I call them back.
Hey, Jen,
But
let me ask you this, because like when I listen to you, I hear a lot of like when things happen, they happen like for me, not to me. Like I just get that feeling when I listen to you, because just in your story, I picked out like 3 different times where I'm like, gosh, she uses it for her benefit, how do you do that? Like, even with some people think like I have to have the perfect setting to book an appointment, and then they procrastinate because they use it. And you're like, I use it for my benefit, which I agree. Like if you call me up and you got a bunch of kids, or I don't think you're a telemarketer. I think even more so, like you're my friend, or I think you're calling to talk to my wife, because that's what my my house sounds like. My wife's got all the kids. If you called her right now, it'll sound like that. So I think I'm not thinking telemarketer. So you've changed the way you see things for your benefit. How do you do that?
so that was a kind of a long process for me. So just within this last year, there's the divorce. I moved 3 times since last October,
Yeah.
which my kids, I homeschool my kids. So we're home just because the back and forth with all the shutting down and things like that with school. I was like, I can't even function and book appointments, and then I can't show up. So I had to regroup a lot and really think about what you're asking me. How did you do it? I had to ask myself, how am I going to do this? It wasn't a matter what can't I do? I had to realign and think about what can I do? Where I'm at. I can't change where I'm at. I had to accept where I'm at and stop comparing myself to someone else who knows what they have going on, because people also don't talk about their personal lives. So comparing yourself to others also isn't fair. There's
Absolutely.
people who are high performers and people who kind of just putz along. So for me, it was, in the situation I'm at now, what can I do to better improve it? And that was it's still daily for me. Every day I try to do something, a few things, like how can I improve my spot a little bit more each day? And then that became a habit. But it was very hard at first, especially when I have sole custody of the 6 kids. It's just me. I'm the whole ship. So I had to get it together. I had to start reading again, getting back on the podcast, getting around people, not be isolated, working out, eating healthy was a big thing for me. Like literally, it's all of that. It all makes a difference. And if I'm struggling in one aspect, I'm like, okay, where do I need to realign? But the biggest thing for me, because a lot of moms message me in FFL and they're like, how do you not have mom guilt, or how do you get out there and, do things and this and that? And I gave up on the notion of balance. There will never be balance in my life. Ever. There's time.
You know what, Jen,
Ever.
I have to say something, because I think everybody's now like nodding their head and saying, Paul, I wasn't sure about what you said in the beginning, as far as like this being super inspirational, but like I'm inspired again. Like I want to go out and do more, stretch, grow, develop, and become more of who God called me to be, just by listening to your story. Because Jen, not only do you have the 6 kids that you have full custody of, but you also homeschool them. Like think about that. Like they're there. It's not like, oh, I got 6 kids, but they're they go to school from 8 to 2, which I think that's still very difficult. I mean, every once in a while, my wife's like, can you go pick the kids up from school? And it's like, I feel like that's the most daunting task ever. Like there's, did I get them all? Did I forget one? And then they got, there's 5 different questions. They won't stop talking. It's a lot.
Right.
And you've sat back and you've taken, I would almost think of, when I think of you, I think of the word like a possibilist. I don't know where I heard it, but you've got like a understanding of where you're currently at, like what the reality is, but also you have this view of what you can accomplish, this optimistic view of I can go out there and succeed and excel and have a peak performance amongst what's taken place, that it's going to continue to grow and develop. And what I want to say is this, like, you've done that. And in the last 90 days, because you've done things that you knew you needed to get out of all this stuff that you have going on and stress and anxiety, because it's easy to right now talk about it and overlook the fact that what comes with taking care of 6 kids and being the single provider and running your own business, that's a lot of stress and anxiety and worry and doubt and discouragement that can creep in. That's a lot to kind of battle against with that. But you've done things to help equip yourself to go out there and fight the battle in the best possible way. You go to the gym. So when you're in the gym, you're not thinking about the stress, where you're focusing on, gratitude and doing your best. And you got free of mind, free of stress. You're doing these things that you said you've put in place that's helped you focus on the business. And now you're doing $127,000 a month of paid business. Guys, if Jen's spread is only an average of 10%, that's $12,000 a month in income, passive, that she's derived from going to work and hiring people. Jen, that's a big accomplishment that fast. How have you done it? Can anybody go out and do the exact same thing?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for me, because I have the 6 kids and they're all little, so they're between the ages of 3 and 10. So they're little. What I do is I make my phone calls at night. My initial interviews are all in the evening. All of them. I put the kids to bed and I'll work from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And now, at first it was just a few days a week. Then it was fine. Now it's every day. And I like it, and it is tiring, but it fires me up. And then during the day, I'm taking the phone calls on helping agents in houses, helping them through whatever they need help with during the day. But I'm getting everyone started at night, goal setting at night, going over leads at night, in-home help, phone training, all of that I do in the evening. But that's my schedule and I stick to it. So that's the key. No matter what your schedule is, if you don't stick to it, it's going to ruin you, and I tell everybody when they start this business, yes, you work for yourself. If you treat it like a job and show up when you're supposed to, you'll get paid for it like a job. If you treat it like a hobby, you will pay for it like a hobby.
I love it.
Especially if you're investing, so it's just being disciplined and being okay with where you're at. If my kids are yelling in the background now, I don't care. I used to care. I used to be like, I can't get anything done. I can't even make a phone call. And now when people call, I'm like, well, they're wrestling. This one ran the other one's finger over, and go with America Eagle.
Right. I love that. Think about that. Like, for me, if I hear that, I almost don't want to have excuses. I would venture to think that, Jen, you're serving your team more than most are serving, because you don't, like, you're an excuse eliminator when somebody calls you. Or when somebody's like, hey, I need some help. You're like, well, 10 p.m. Well, that's kind of late. I know. I understand. I just have 6 kids and I'm raising, homeschool, all this stuff going on. I have that time allotted. Does that work for you? And I think that brings out the best in people too. And that's why you've had so many people on your team go out there and see success that fast. Like we look at Holly and all these other people coming on board where they write like, boom, 10,000. Well, they just don't have any excuses. And I think it's because the leader ahead of them that's going out there and charging is showing that there's no reason to have excuses. Let's get leads. Let's book appointments. Let's go see families. It isn't that deep. Anybody can do it. And you've got a number of people on your team that in the first month are paying $20,000 a month in paid business. And like Holly said, making more money than she's ever made ever before, and doing it in 30 days. Like, buckle up. This is just the beginning. If you made more than you've ever made your first month in a new business, like, the future looks pretty bright. And so, well, Jen, thank you so much for hopping on. Again, I feel like I could go out there and do more. I'm positive I will be more and do more today because of this. And so thank you for what you do and everything that you resemble. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm honored to be in business with you.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, you definitely helped me so much, and your leadership and mentorship has helped, so much through this last year. And I'm just following the leader. You pick up the phone, you do all the things. I'm just copying. And if everybody keeps it that simple and just copies and has a sense of urgency, they can do it. So,
Absolutely.
but thank you so much, Paul.
All right, Jen, have a great day, guys. Go out there, kill it. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, last thing, I'm sorry. If you're looking to join Family First Life, reach out to Jen. I'm just telling, reach out to her. She can help you. She can get you going. She knows what it looks like. And hey, the last, 30 days, that many people seeing that much success that fast. I mean, it's a right team to join. So anyways, that was it. Just, I want to put that plug in there because I know people are looking at FFL. They need to look to your team because you're killing it. All right, guys, take care. See you guys.